Welcome back, everyone, to the Cancel for Maintenance podcast. We're your hosts, MVP and Six, and we talk about the gritty, non-glamorous life of aircraft maintenance. This episode is kind of be more of a bonus, kind of our year-end closeout. I can't believe I'm saying this, but
that's crazy.
This being our last episode of 2022, and it's been quite a ride. It's been one hell of a ride, and 2022 has brought a lot of stuff to us, a lot of stuff for us, and really it's just been the highlight of our time with this show. And there's so much we can account for, there's so much we can thank, but it's just been mind-blowing, the kind of a ride we've been having.
Well, I can tell you the weekly therapy sessions for me have been critical into my retaining a job. That's probably been one of the biggest benefits of this. And I know we've talked about it before, but the weekly therapies is just excellent. And Six, I know you got a list of stuff, but from my goldfish memory, one of the things I've enjoyed about this year is we've had more guests on, a lot of guests from all walks of life, and it's been interesting to hear their stories and their experiences. And I hope to continue that into the new realm.
Oh, most definitely. And some of the guests we've had, they've been so positive. And it's kind of like shed a light in our lives, mine especially, because coming into 2022, it was pretty bleak. Like we're kind of had that little hangover from 2021, and before that 2020, it was just a crapshoot. So coming into this 2022, we had some awesome guests like Stig, for instance. That guy just oozes positivity. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what sort of things he does for his morning routine, but it works, and it rubbed off on us pretty good.
I'd like to know the coffee he drinks.
Yeah, right. And then we also had the record number of guests on an episode. That was the Elevate Aviation team who participated in the aircraft maintenance competition. That was about like 5 total. We've never had that many guests on an episode before. We attempted to do it once, but schedules conflicted last minute, and we had to move on to other things. But
yeah, schedules and time zones and hemispheres.
And hemispheres, yeah. But we're still willing to do that again. I mean, we kind of had that issue with the Elevate Aviation team because they were all in Canada, but it's just like it was just as bad. Like we had different provinces, different time zones. Some, I think they mentioned that it was like midnight on their side when they started the episode. I'm like, I'm sorry.
But it just goes to show you the support though that they have for each other and for us, that they're willing to like, I'll avoid sleep to come and hang with you guys and talk and this and that and the other. And so it says a lot for their character and a lot for, they're about their words.
Yes. Very much so. And again, with those individuals, pretty much every guest, they've just had all sorts of inspiring stories, inspiration, and really put the positive light for us. Again, Stig, the Elevate Aviation team, Lively Elevation, the Leaders of Aviation podcast with what he's doing for pilots. Just freaking awesome. I love it. Oh, and also with the pilots pandemic, with their petition to reform pilots' mental health. That's a big thing because we all know like mental health with aviation is kind of shoved to the wayside, or it's some kind of long venture of a process to get screened through and approved.
So, you kind of get the response, when you talk about your mental health of, wow, that's crazy. Well, anyways, here's your work card for the day. Get after it.
Yeah. So like for all those, man, like it as much as they feel we did a number on them, they've more than did a number on us because it helped us get through 2022 and our weekly therapy sessions, as MVP has mentioned, even amongst ourselves. Like some of the episodes we've been doing, I don't know if anyone's noticed that it's been a little bit more on the educational side of things, like why accidents happen, how do we avoid SAD, for instance, or how do we cope with soft quitting. That was a lesson for us as well. Like, by no means,
there was a term for it.
Yeah, for for real. Uh,
Oh, that's what I've been doing.
yeah, is that it? Acting my wage? That's a real thing,
That's a real thing. Ah,
right?
look at me. Look at me trend setting.
Right.
Probably not a
uh,
good trend to set.
right. And also for like us, for this was for our personal knowledge too about skilled labor, like aviation maintenance as skilled labor. So that was a big learning curve for us as well.
Yeah, that was a massive learning curve. Like drilling down through the different work centers, if you will, that the Department of Labor has out there. What did we fall? We fell under. We figured out that we fell under clerks in our last positions in our last jobs.
Yeah.
That's why we were paid the way we were, because we were secretaries. And looking back, we pretty much were.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have some mixed feelings about that, but I understand why. Now that I understand why, it kind of justifies that it still sucks, but I can kind of understand why we were treated the way we were and why everyone else is kind of were very like swept it under the rug, if that makes any sort of sense. Um, so those really helped us as well because we had a huge vent about this like offline, and pretty much like every other week we would have some kind of vent that trailed back to that, and then having all these episodes that we helped look through, that we kind of learned through it together. And I think that's what really set our episodes apart for this year is like some of the stuff we put out, we literally learn it as we're going. Like,
yeah, I mean, some of the stuff we talked about happened that day, the day we recorded.
Yep.
You're at work and you're like, what is happening in this place? And then, and then get out of work and Six and I are texting one another. Yo, this just happened to me today. It's the craziest thing. You too? What the? And then I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. So we jump online for our weekly therapy and hash it out with you guys.
Yep. And so it's been like a very inclusive journey. Like we wanted to bring you guys in more to some of the stuff that we experience, for especially for those who are not part of the aviation field, like how you can relate just a little bit more to some of the suffering, so to say, that we've gone through. And there's been some guests or some people who follow us on our various social medias who also interject and actually boost us up. An example was Madison with the remote AMT. When he came out, he actually just started commenting that, hey, you guys are talking great about this, or you guys are really helped me with that. And then we brought him on for an episode, and he really educated us about resilience and just like how we can help coach people through to realize their potential and stuff like that. And like, it got us inspired. Like, maybe we should do some coaching, man. Like, if not for ourselves, then maybe just for someone like within our ring of direct influence, something. Just
some mentorship, help out anybody any way we can. It's kind of again, it's kind of when we started this too.
yes, and we say this all the time, and I think we've repeated this so much, but it's something that's very essential to us. Is when we started this show, it all began when we would have these talks in our office with people who would just come in and out and just feel like they can take off the pack when they come see us, because more or less they'd be just drained as they go throughout their day, and some of them they're on the brink of just breaking down, either physically, mentally, or emotionally, just terrible. And so we would have some kind of relief for them, like just joke around with them or talk about their day, or like we'll meet up like at the end of shift and just play video games for like 20 minutes or something like that. Just
yeah they didn't have to scream into the void anymore. We became the void,
And then throughout all that, like just seeing them just feel better about themselves and coming to us for the real information, not just the filtered down, like do this because I told you so kind of info. It actually made us feel good about ourselves. Like, you know what, maybe this doesn't suck as bad. I mean,
it was kind of nice when they come over like, man, hey, you guys, set this priority, but my boss is saying this, that, and the other. I'm afraid to say something to them because I'm afraid they're going to yell at me, and I don't feel like starting that drama today, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, don't you worry, friend. I'll start that drama for you. Let me go ahead and fight your boss. I don't care if they like me or not.
I
Just
love
get
those.
on the phone real quick. Doot, doot, doot. Hey, dick bag.
Or that's when we start to learn how to professionally cuss on an email. That was the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Those were the best. Like,
How
feel
to
free to test that
professionally
theory.
tell someone to f off.
Yeah, like feel free to test your theory at your convenience. Like, and they sit there and spool about it for like 5 minutes. Like, did you just tell me to go fuck myself? And they'll come in the office screaming and shit. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, friend. See right here. Here's the copy of the email. Have fun with that. But again, and then we repeat what the email said, and they just storm off even harder. That's the best. I love it. Um, along with all the fun stuff that we did in 2022, we'll get into more of the fun stuff, but it's been very trying too. Like, even with the show itself, like we had a whole bunch of technical problems. Sometimes things will turn on, they'll turn off, or they'll have trouble turning on and turning off. Even like just 5 minutes ago, we had issues with our mics not working right, or the recorder just wasn't reading the information or something like that. I'm just it and it's a whole lot of learning curve, especially trying to do the troubleshooting remotely. It's always such a hassle. And then even more so is Shoreline has been pretty much absent almost the entirety of this year because of the demands of his job. So not having him around to a kind of be our third person that makes this especially fun, and then having his technical expertise throughout the whole recording, it has been pretty hurtful. And we've we definitely missed him being on the show. But hey, especially with how volatile his line of work is, especially when it comes to live music and sound, it can be very demanding. And sometimes if you say no to a job, that's the last you'll see of it.
Yeah,
For
it's one of those. Oh, you're not available for that. Cool. I guess you're not available for these ones either. And you're
Yep.
like, well, wait a minute. But yeah, and you say, well, that's not fair. And you're like, well, no, it's not. But unfortunately, that's how business is, right? Look in our own industry.
Mm-hmm.
You spend so much time on the road doing maintenance on different aircraft, and you come back and you're like, hey, I can't make it on the next trip. Oh, cool. You can't make it to Minnesota in February. Cool. Sounds like you're not going to get that Bahamas trip coming up in March, and you're like, oh, so even though I've been out on the road because I'm turning this one down because of XYZ reason, I'm get to miss out on the other. Awesome. And that's just the sad reality of it, right?
Yep, very much so. I think we talked about this some episodes ago too, where like they call you just out of nowhere, and you're just automatically supposed to, air quotes, supposed to say yes. And just as MVP said, like if you say no, then that kind of closes the doors on a whole bunch of other stuff. Even though that one particular moment was just such right place, wrong time kind of thing, or like, hey, we got an opportunity for you, but it's in Australia. I Okay, I can't go to Australia right now because of family reason X or medical reasons Y. And they say, okay, cool, we'll just move on to someone else. And then that's kind of like you telling them to go fuck themselves. I mean, it may not be true, but that's just kind of how they took it. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, even though there's 15 other people in the shop, but you keep coming to me and I have to say no the one time. Now I'm the bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, with our day jobs too, like there's been such a demand, especially with everything starting to turn back on after all the COVID shutdowns. I'm sure a lot of people, and especially in the more commercial side of the house, like all the different passenger airliner groups, their stuff has been ramped up pretty hard, especially because of all the lifted restrictions, or people are able to travel a little bit more. So that traffic has just been insane. And then just trying to figure out a time and place and how to make everything balance out has just been such a circus, really.
Yeah,
Even
I can tell you, like, one thing that it really was a struggle for me this year and a big steep learning curve was dealing with attrition.
yes,
Um, doing as much as you can for your team and you think you're doing right, but at the end of the day, people are going to move on and do what's right for them, and I don't hold it against them. In fact, I helped them. I write letters of recommendation. I've spoken to their new bosses on their behalf, and all these other things. So I'll help anybody any way they can. But I'd be a liar if I didn't say it. Still, it
Yep.
didn't hurt me some, where it's like, shit, man, I'm doing my best for you. Like, give me a chance. Just give me a little bit longer, and I'll make it better. Um, but people got to do what's best for them. And like you were saying, what jogged my memory on this is you're saying, as the COVID
Yep.
restrictions loosened, um, and things opened up, people went, hey, I don't want to live in this state anymore. Or, hey, some other opportunities opened up over here now. Before I was afraid, I needed a job because who knew what was
Mhm.
going to happen with this COVID and everything. But now that it's opened up again, now I'm not afraid to make this plunge and try something new. And like I said, I can't fault, but for me, that was a big learning curve, and it's still a learning curve. And I lost a teammate earlier in the year, in almost a year ago, in February 4th or 5th, it'll have been a year. But I still regret that loss.
Yep.
It
Oh
still
yeah.
bothers me to this day. But that's that's it is what it is. And that individual, I still talk with them. They're doing great in their new position. They're seeing the world and they're doing big things. So that's pretty cool. But I'd have to say, yeah, that was probably my, amongst the hundreds of other things that I've learned on this show from you guys. But in my own personal work life, that was probably the number one hill I had to climb.
Yep. And then that was the same for myself as well. Like, there were some changes in the parameters of our work. Some of them we were writing the book as we were going along. MVP can attest to some of this. We talked about this offline. Like, there's been some new way of handling things, especially when with all the stuff that happened COVID related, where people had to telework or had to do 50% here, 50% there, and so a lot of people got very comfortable with that. So we had to like figure out ways to accommodate that new way of doing business while still making things happen. And some of the stuff that it never existed, we kind of just did it as a bridge to make things work. But as things started turning on again, traffic started getting more fierce, more active. We still wanted to be able to accommodate this new way of doing business. So we had to write new procedures, new policies to make this happen and still get the job done. And it, it's it was a very big learning curve, especially for us. We when we had to come up with new ways of doing the same business with half the people or less, and then doing all this together with things still going on, with all these turning on, turning off, budget cuts, and all this other stuff. It was a very steep curve for us. Um, but despite all that, we were still able to accomplish a lot with the show, with ourselves, with the things we set forth when we first started the show. One of which was finding a way to give back to the listeners besides just giving information. That presented itself very recently. We have the Women Rock Wings organization to really thank for that. And
Yeah, I was gonna say you said very recently, and I wanted to add very appreciatively.
yes, very appreciatively that being the McGill grant that we are collaborating with them on. Uh, that was something that just kind of fell on our lap. We were very happy to take part in it, and it was one of the major goals that we set for ourselves was to give back to people who listen to us, give back to aviation for the future, and just help people out in general. So again, with this grant, it's for granted right now. It's for a transitioning female service member, either is in the process of getting out or has just recently got out. Again, it's still something that we're trying to help contribute to someone who's pursuing a career in aircraft maintenance. Because if we were to do this by ourselves, MVP can attest really just how expensive this stuff can be. So us being able to give back to that person who's pursuing it really like hits us in the core, so to speak. Like, this is one of the most heartfelt moments we had. Like, we're giving back to somebody or to aviation as a whole, for even if it's only one recipient. That one can mean the difference between meeting your goals and just not. Um, and then also we've got more aviation centric affiliates like Dalcom Tech, who really killed it for us in one of their trade shows. Just really killed it, and we're happy to collaborate with them as well as far as having headsets available for aviation, like pilots, air crew, ground crews. I think some of them can even go with camera crews for like live events or football events, stuff like that. And we said it on that episode like not too long ago. Like your ears matter, and you only got two of them, so protect them now while you're still young and you still have them working. I mean, look at us. Like we're probably working on half a ear, a quarter of a ear that works intermittent. You know.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is I find myself leaning in closer to the microphone to hear six better, even though I have earplugs in,
Yeah,
like headphones in or whatever. You know.
yeah, yeah.
It's dumb like that. But if I lean in closer to the mic, maybe I'll hear him better.
Or it's like one of those where like you turn your car stereo so you can see better.
Yeah, and that's a factual thing, but that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Yep.
With my 25% effective hearing.
Yep. And I'm the same way. So we're very happy to be collaborating with those guys, with Dalcom Tech and Women Brock Wings, and hoping to contribute more to the aviation realm. There's been many others like Tin Tail Numbers, who make like gifts out of side numbers, especially for like people who got their first solo flight or retirement gifts, stuff like that. We've been collaborating with them for some time now. And then also the Oak Place Woodworks, who provided us with much of our new merch, like coasters, beanies, hats, stuff like that. Like we're just looking to expand more about that and just give back to everybody in some way, shape, or form. Also, as far as accomplishments for the year, we've also won again in the Veteran Podcast Awards. So now we're a 2-time award-winning podcast. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, 2 times, man. I mean, technically 3 if you really want to count the first year, but at the being back-to-back awardees, or actually back-to-back participants in the show or in the awards to begin with, was a big accomplishment, because people actually give a shit enough of us to want to nominate us to go on the show again. And then to win it more twice in a row was a huge testament. And I think we said that too in both award speeches. Like, this is not just a win for us. This is a win for all of aviation maintainers, because now our voices are being heard. Our voices are being recognized. More people are understanding the nuances of being an aircraft mechanic and understanding the sufferings of having to work on airplanes. I mean, especially now at post 2020, when there was like next to no mechanics and some people's workforce got cut by 75%. So they're really feeling the hurt of lacking both ground crew and air crew, and to have that portrayed in the Veteran Podcast Award twice, and for us to win twice, it just says a lot about everybody that's involved in this community. So that we're very much appreciative of. And I think another one for us, for one of our major goals, was starting our own our own web comic series. For that one, we really have to thank our patrons for, because without their support, we never would have got that off the ground. And if some of people who've read some of the comics, like, they say, like, where do we get all these stories? Where does all this inspiration come from? And that's really just our experiences as aircraft mechanics. Like, this happens to everybody.
And obviously in some of the stories we're taking a little bit of liberties and embellishing some, but the core of it is a story that has happened to one or both of us. You know,
right? Or some people that we've asked for collabs with, like there was one with the Blue Showers where MVP's character gets dumped on with the lavatory blue juice. That may not have happened to MVP directly, but it has happened to somebody that we know about.
Oh yeah, I watched my lead do that to himself. That's where that story came from. The hell out of my way. Oh, okay. Show me what's up. Oh man, that That looks shitty.
That's disgusting.
Congratulations.
You played yourself. And another one that just released recently, as far as our webcomics, was about the fees for service for like our documentation, logs and records, maintenance, admin peoples. The joke was it's like they're charging for all their different services like password resets, deleting write-ups, fixing write-ups, and all this and that. And that actually came from our very first ever guest, which was Jasmine, like I think episode 10, I think it was. Very like one of the very first.
Yeah, she was real early.
Yeah, like
earlier in the show.
Like I think she was our very first guest. Yeah, matter of fact, she was our very first guest. That story actually came from her when just like how everyone just took advantage of everyone who worked in the administration side of the aviation realm. But anyone who's ever dealt with that knows that that accounts for about 80% of the work. And if that is messed up, then 80% of your work either didn't happen or didn't happen right. And so, but everyone just sees, oh, whatever, you're just a paper pusher. You're just a pen. You're just the one who traces all the ink on the paper, some dumb shit like that. But that kind of job actually matters. And it was very fun for us to bring that realm into the mix, especially because no one actually thinks about that. I mean, very, very few people even think of aircraft mechanics when they think aviation, to be honest, but even less people think about the people who handled the documentation or the administrative side of the house. So that was definitely fun. And then we got some other fun ones that are coming throughout the mix. Like we did some other collabs like with the spooky stories or the spooky tales. Some other ones with Santa Claus and stuff like that. We're getting pretty wild with these comics and we love it.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun to just sit down and write about and then put forth, and get back the images that we get, and just when it adds life to the words, it's pretty awesome.
Yes, most definitely. And what makes it, this is me personally, I think MVP can say this too. This hits us a little bit extra in the heart because some of it is our story, some of it is other people's stories, but the great part about it is it adds some permanence to it. Like it makes them a little bit more immortal and something that we can show and pass on and kind of explain and elaborate a little bit. So like if someone say you're listening to our show, you're kind of like, what the hell are these guys talking about? And you see the comics and they kind of jives together. Like, oh, that's what they mean. That's what this is talking about. So it's almost like a record of all of our experiences. And I think that really hits us home too, because
these are our hieroglyphics.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So dozens of years from now, when Six and I are long gone, people can look back and see what us cavemen were drawing.
Right. Yeah. And I was talking to somebody about this. I think it was Stig, where like these stories, like it may not be funny now, but 10, 20, 40 years from now, this is going to be like somebody's Bible, more or less, like some people are going to commit to this. Someone's going to really like take this to heart. And well, maybe not, but it's the fact that like it's there for the future. And then that's what really hits it home for us, especially because these are stories that everyone kind of sort of experiences, but who knows, like 50 years down the line, like no one's going to know what a radial drive shaft is. No one's going to know what fuel injection is. Everything's going to be all like isotope powered and shit, or driven by.
Yeah, it's going to be like Halo stuff.
Yeah. And
worm drives and actual flex capacitors,
right? Stuff we joked about is all actual science now. Like
the fabric of space and time,
right?
Yep.
And overall, like this year has really hit it out of the park for us again with the collaborations, with the affiliations, hitting having different guests that just bring a different light to things, and most of all, it's just how who we're being listened to. I think right now we're sitting at about 105 different countries that are listening to us right now. And that's like more than half of the world, to be honest, if anyone really knows, like There's about like 194, 195 countries in the world, and about 105 of them are listening to us. So we're just about maybe 90 some shy of the whole world listening to us. I mean, that has the technical capability of listening to us anyway.
Yeah, it's really cool to see like you know, Six and I have these, have a bunch of discussions offline. We're always talking about different things, but it's kind of cool to see the stuff come to fruition that we had talked about months even before we ever recorded our very first episode. We're sitting there, with our goals and aspirations and saying, man, it'd be so cool. And I know one of the first things we ever said is like, God, gosh, we'd love to be able to sponsor somebody through a school somehow, or we'd love to help, get somebody some tools or some books or whatever, however we can help. And to see that, that coming through now and say, man, that'd be cool if we got like, you know, a bunch of people in our area just listening to us or whatever else. And here we are global, and,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really like, just, it's been cool to see our initial goals coming happening, I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it's been, and again, thanks to all of you guys for listening to us, for putting up with us, for coming on the show, for telling your friends to listen to us, to just all the collabs. Like it's been really really fun to see it turn into something that we envisioned.
Yes, most definitely. And again, like when we first started this, as MVP said, like we were just happy if our neighbors listened to it. We were just happy if our friends even just like peeked at it. And
Yeah, the people who we worked on shift with.
yeah, we that's all we at the time. That's so like we're just happy if someone did. And then now it's like we're having people come to us and explain things and want to collaborate and all this and that. Like wow, like I've we were hoping for it, but we never expected it. And I think that's kind
Yeah,
of
we've learned different parts of the industry that we not that we didn't know existed, but really never had any insight to. And you guys come and tell us your experiences, and you're like, holy cow, I didn't know that was like, I didn't know that was happening out there.
right. Yeah. Or they elaborate a little bit more about certain things we were hazy about, like with aircraft firefighting, for instance, or things that they do in different countries. It was mind blowing. And again, like we are just so happy that it's coming to fruition. We're just so happy we're hitting those goals and exceeding, making new ones. And it's just been a fun ride. And we really have every single one of you, our patrons especially, to thank for all of this happening. Because without you, it just be us having our weekly therapy sessions amongst ourselves. And we're just so glad to have you all participate with us in it.
Yeah, it's nice to know we're all not alone in this together, and that we have a very supportive community
Yes.
in the aviation realm. I mean, the aviation community is small as it is, uh, but we are a supportive bunch of bastards. I'll tell you that.
Yes, very much so. Even though a lot of us like we
We're haggard and blown out and worn out.
yeah, or
We're
like
pretty supportive.
we feel it but we don't say it kind of thing. Like that's one thing I've noticed too. Like a lot of individuals who have approached us about it say like, "Oh, I'm so glad you guys talk about this." I'm like, I mean, like they all feel the same way, but very few of them actually speak up about it. And I'm glad to see that more and more are starting to find their voice and really just tell people what's up. I mean, whatever way is most appropriate for you. But I'm just glad to hear that you guys are speaking up about it, and then more people are finding that as the ongoing standard to do so. Um, so like, what's next for us? Like, what comes next after this? First, 2023 comes next. And we're looking to do some live events, like really hoping to do some live events. Perhaps the 2023 AMC. We've been speaking to them a little bit here and there, but it's one of those like it's too far away to start planning, but it's not close enough for us to really take action, kind of thing. It's long term goal kind of thing. Uh,
Yeah, long term goal and pending schedules, and we all know our lives can change in an instant. So, like Six said, it's hard to plan that far ahead and put something in stone. Although I know that's a possibility, and maybe we should be doing that. But
yep.
um, but it's very difficult to plan out that far.
Yep. But it's definitely something we're looking into doing. We really want to try. There's other conferences that are approaching that have asked us to come through, or they're saying they're willing to have us come through. So we're going to try our best. Some of them are far away from where we are, but we're going to see what we can do in one way, shape, or form. We're looking to have more guests on, maybe some on the different side of aviation, like people who do their own builds, for instance. Um, and then we also have our comics. We got that rolling through. We have so many different episodes that are already lined up, ready for us to experiment on and do stuff with. And I think you guys are really going to like this. Like some of them really go over the top as far as the stories are concerned, but they're very relatable. And we just had a whole bunch of fun just writing them for one. And then actually seeing them on paper is even more funny. And then, well, hopefully for the comics, we're looking to publish that as a no kidding book. So at some point, when we've created enough episodes, we want to publish that as a book, possibly to cap out the year, or to say like this happened this year, and just something for every aircraft mechanic to have and just relate to, and knowing that that's something that's meant for them, not just to make the general public laugh about aviation.
Yeah, something you can keep on your desk at work and look at when you're having a rough day.
Yep. And again, like if people listen to us, they're more than likely going to relate to the comics. Some of them have already expressed how much they relate to it, or how excited they are to see the next one. And that's been very heartwarming for us. Really, the opportunities are limited only by our imagination. And we can't thank in all of you enough for your support in this and helping us make these imaginations come true, for one, and then just helping us reach our goals and make new ones and reaching those and just keep on going. We're hoping this lasts forever, and we just help give back to the people who've been so instrumental in helping us.
Yeah, and just continue all of that. We'd love to hear more of you guys' input. I know a lot of you reach out to us, but you're never reaching out to us too much. So if you got subjects and any new subjects you'd like to touch on, any old subjects we've previously touched on and would like to readdress, let us know. Never be afraid to hit us up on the old social medias.
Please, we're all about that too. And like always, of our Discord, we're always on Discord. Some of the patrons have reached out to us directly, asking for direct help, and we assist in whatever shape or form we can that's within our capabilities of. And if not, we can at least forward them to somebody or a resource that can. And that's been like the biggest winner for us, is like just interacting with people on Discord. So you can be a part of that just by becoming a patron as low as $1. Hop on their Patreon and just get all the cool perks, and especially just interact with us. And that's been the biggest community builder for us, especially. But as MVP said, like, feel free to reach out to us. Let us know if there's any topics you want us to expand on or talk about or revisit, whatever the case may be. We're always welcoming input. You can't interact with us too much. And we're always about that interaction, especially with people who listen to us. On that note, it's been a fantastic 2022. We thank every single one of you for listening to us. We thank you for the fun ride, both the ups, the downs, the sideways, and all around. It's been a fantastic time, and we look forward to sharing with you guys on 2023. See what comes next. Anything else you'd like to add, MVP, before we sign off for the year?
Nope. Just want to say Happy New Year, everybody. See y'all in 2023.
Happy New Year's, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks again for listening to us. We would like to take this time to thank our patrons for supporting our show and allowing us to make episodes, maintain our gear, and create merch for all of our listeners. With special thanks to Erica Lamont, Chris Hawkins, Eric Shaw, Dan Schubert, Ryan Frushauer, Kyle Keir, Mike Sherwood, Caleb Stockhill, and Jennifer Brofer. Thank you all so much for your support and patronage. If you like our show, please support us on Patreon. You'll receive awesome perks like access to our private Discord, discounts and early access to our merch, first glimpse of our comics and other projects, and so much more. You can further support us and show off your prowess as an aircraft specialist by visiting our shop at cancelformaintenance.com. If you like classy or rugged watches, visit our affiliate Rockwell Time at rockwelltime.com. Use the code CX, the number 4MX to save 10% off your total order. If you have suggestions for the show or you'd like to be a guest on the show, send us a line on our contact us section at cancelformaintenance.com and we'll do what we can to get both your ideas and yourself on the show. Please support us on social media like Facebook at Cancel for Maintenance, Instagram at CANX for Maintenance Podcast, or Twitter at CXMX Podcast. Please check out our new comic series on the Tapas app. Like, share, subscribe, and comment on our comics. Let us know what you think. Thank you all so much for your support and listenership, and we will catch you all next time.